Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and once again, I am joined by my lovely co host, Angel.
Hi, welcome back.
We are very excited because we are starting Poor Charles Tainted Love. Um, I think it's probably the worst kept secret that we both really love this arc.
No, no, no. We just revealed this just a second. Nope.
We've only been, slipping it in since day one.
hmm
This week we discussed the first week. So let's roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So we pick up in the monastery slash old church that Michael was fixing up with Ian and Eve, and they're continuing their reunion. And he's thrilled at the news that she's pregnant.
Good, because we didn't need to be stretched out any further.
Right. He fills her in on Ariana's successful donor transplant and how she's going to start a new life away from poor Charles. Bye, girl.
Bye, Ariana.
Eve says she's so happy that Ariana's all right, and I'm like, I'm sure that's why you're happy.
I'm sure that's why you're happy. Yeah, but no, there are other reasons.
Right. So I guess Ariana is mentioned. Because I didn't know any better, it just went over my head originally when I watched this, because I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, who's Ariana? I don't know.
Downstairs in Michael's, I put secret room, little Days reference. He talks to someone he calls Caleb. And we find out it's his brother.
Oh, man.
He keeps him down there for his own good. Apparently Caleb has found ways to sneak out before, and he set his eyes on a girl.
Oh, but which girl?
And Michael says it better not be Eve. Ian and Eve are kissing passionately and realize maybe they should not be doing that in a church.
Yeah. I literally said right before they said like I'm happy you're reuniting, but you shouldn't be doing this in the church. And then literally 2 seconds later, it was like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this in the church.
Ian wants to go to the cabin, but Eve wants to thank Michael for all that he's done for her.
Mm-hmm.
Ian tells her he will find Michael, but to wait there. He ends up finding him in the woods and tells him that he found Eve, and Michael apologizes for not realizing that was who he was searching for. Ian tells him Eve wants to see him and thank him, but Michael says he has something urgent to attend to. He tells Ian to give Eve his well wishes. Eve is alone in the church now, and she hears a noise and thinks Ian and Michael have arrived, but no one's there. And she sees a large key in the door that was previously locked that she tried to open to the secret room. And she gets nosy and she decides she's going to walk down the stairs. No one is there. Oh, I'm sorry. We then see a shadowy figure wake up from a slumber, and he looks like Michael. He stalks Eve from behind, unbeknownst to her. And we're like, okay, what is this? What's happening? What's he going to do?
Who is this Michael Easton type character?
Right. Question. I think I know the answer, but I can't really remember. Are those tattoos Michael Easton's?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because I feel like I remember seeing his cross tattoo on One Life to Live, maybe.
They might be his.
I'm not really sure. Ian re-enters the church, but can't seem to enter the chapel part where Eve was waiting because the doors are now locked. How did that happen? Is it a mystical thing? Jack is now being chased by motorcycle or motorbike by Zach and his crew, and Livy is trying to communicate with him over a radio headset that
Hmm.
keeps dipping in and out of service. Jack takes a large leap off a ledge with the bike, falling in what looks like to his death.
Mm.
And Jamal gets to the scene of the crash, but he's too late. And Zach says Jamal will take the fall for this, given his record and reasoned public spout with Jack over Allison. Um, Livy can feel something is wrong, and she and Allison run off to find Jack.
Mm.
They come upon the crash, and she says she's not leaving Jack. So Allison and Jamal leave to find help. Now, Jack was like mumbling, and I couldn't make out what he was saying. All I could hear was promise me. And then I got I love you or I'll always love you out of that, but I feel like he was just like, "Mm, mm, mm." Could you make out what he was saying?
I couldn't make it out, but I assumed it was "I love you" or something along those lines. And then I also just want to say that with the outdoor scenes, which are directed by Andrew Lee, he did
Mhm.
an amazing job with these. Like the outdoor scenes just look gorgeous. And I think I may have mentioned that last week with The End of Time in a Bottle, but those scenes are just gorgeous. Like they look like 90s GH. Like that's how gorgeous they look.
They
And I
almost
wonder if they stole him from GH, and
look
that's what, like, with a lot of the, how they did a lot of like outdoor scenes, like with Lois and Ned's wedding, Puerto
uh,
Rico, like
mhm.
all those iconic Luke and Laura's return, all those iconic like scenes in the 1990s for General Hospital, and did that for Port Charles.
They are shot really well. And I'm actually this was like pre P-Pack Guiding Light days, and I'm almost like, how come Guiding Light couldn't do it like this? But maybe it wasn't a handy cam because that was always the joke
No, it
that they
wasn't
were
handy
getting
cam.
a handy cam.
It feels like it was like just like a regular camera, but they just brought it out like a field camera. They brought
Right.
it out, and it looks just so gorgeous, especially this scene right here that we're seeing.
Um, so like I said, Jack manages to spit out that he loves her, Livy, and she begs him not to leave her, and he
Hmm.
ends up dying in her arms. Um, Livy lets out a scream that makes Allison and Jamal run back, and they all weep over Jack's body. Um, that was shot really well, honestly. Even like the aerial like pull out of them
Hmm.
all like being around him
Yeah,
felt very prime time. I liked it.
yeah, and it also helps that the actors are doing just a phenomenal job,
Oh,
especially
the actors were
Monica. Yeah,
acting.
they were acting like they were acting, and I don't mean bad acting. Like I am here, I am loud, I am acting. No, I mean they are.
I mean, they were chewing the scenery in the good way. Like, thank
Mhm.
God they were outside because there were no walls to eat. Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
Excellent job by all of them. That's why I wanted all of them really to be on another soap. Kelly Monaco was the luckiest. Oh my gosh, it's
I'm
Kiko,
surprised Aaron
but
Hershey
I know
didn't
his
get
name is not
scooped up.
Kiko Ellsworth anymore. Because he was on The Locker Room, and he goes by another name, but I forgot what the other name is.
Hmm.
He was on GH as Epiphany's son,
Oh,
which
really?
yeah, which and he what they wound up killing him off, which
Oh. Um, I remember seeing him in, like, I think, like, Bad Boys 2 or something, and I was like, "Oh,
mm,
it's the guy from Port Charles." It was either Bad Boys or it was one of the Fast and the Furious, I don't remember. It
yeah.
was an action movie, and I was like, "Oh, it's Jamal."
And then of
Um,
course Aaron Hershey Priestley,
excuse me.
she was supposed to be on The View, but spot got taken by Elizabeth Hasselbeck. So
Oh, I remember that rumor.
yeah.
Hmm. So Lucy is in search of a dresser, and at first I didn't know what that meant. Um, because apparently we're gearing up for the nurses' ball.
Hmm.
She's wearing a nice like T-shirt that says "Nurses Ball 2001"
Hmm.
on it. Um, what was this guy's name? Don, her
Don, yeah.
assistant, and he's like, "I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not
I'm
dealing."
not doing this.
she that she said something like, "Then you're not my darling, or you're not a darling."
Mhm. I
So
like how
then,
he's kind of coded as gay without them actually saying it, because you can like me personally, I could tell that he's gay, but
yes,
he's kind of coded as gay, but they don't explicitly say it. Like, look at his like expressions
his
and everything
mannerism,
like that,
yeah.
his
Her-
mannerisms and everything like that.
So then she tries to get the nurse to, darling, to be her dresser.
Colleen, yeah, I think this is Colleen.
Yeah, and she basically says she'd rather clean out bedpans. And Lucy's like, "Well, your routine's gonna stink anyway, so."
Yeah, because this is like, if you remember like the Ron Carlivati years. I mean, they still do the nurses ball. I don't think they do it last year. I don't remember, but they they'll always have like a nurses section, like to open up the act, and they'll be like, "Welcome to the nurses ball," that part. So I think she's referring to that.
I honestly can't say that I've ever seen a full nurses ball. I've only seen like clips, or I've come in
Hmm.
like midway. Um, she also like, tries to get Kevin. She calls him
Hmm.
darling, and
Hmm.
she tries to like do it in a seduction kind of way. Like, how do you feel about
Tom.
undressing me?
And
And you
then you
see
can see
Don in
like
the
you
background,
see
like,
Don in the
really?
background.
um, Caleb begins to approach Eve from behind,
Hmm.
but Ian comes down and interrupts, so he kind of like falls back. Ian tells Eve that he found Michael in the woods and that he had something to attend to, so she's not going to be able to thank him, but he sends his well wishes.
Hmm.
Um, Caleb lurks and follows them up the stairs through the now unlocked door.
So it's Eve's fault that we get tainted love.
But like, yes and no, because okay, well, we'll get to it later because there are things, but like, I just feel like Livy being, so when somebody was watching her, when back in Time in a Bottle,
Hmm.
when Jack fell in the woods, I feel like we didn't get like a clear answer on that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it
Oh
was
yeah,
that.
that. Yeah.
And Michael's whole comment about Caleb's comment about that, like he set a sight on a girl.
Hmm.
I feel like that alludes to that was him.
Hmm.
So how did he get out?
Hmm. And then
um,
for now, the part about Jack being acting weird the last week of Time in a Bottle has gone unanswered, or does it?
Ian and Eve go back to the cabin and they make love. And Ian tells a story about him, Patrick, and Granada,
Patrick
whatever
from
her
One
name
Life to
is.
Live.
um, and I thought this was really cute because he like shouts, "You hear that, Grania? I'm gonna be a da." And he was like, "He's gonna be the best da ever." I thought that was cute. Um, so Caleb walks into the church and he admires the work that Michael has done. And he says, "It just needs a little something." And he says, "After all, what are brothers for?" And I'm like, "Really? Why are you gonna do that to your brother?"
Yeah.
um, so remember, wasn't Michael wearing a ring in Fate? Not Fate, Time in a Bottle, that Eve like it was admiring, and he said it was like the family crest or whatever.
Hmm.
Maybe I've watched too much Vampire Diaries, so rings are like triggering to me. But does that ring like protect Caleb from sunlight? Is that like a thing later on that we find out?
What is the arc that has rings? I
Is
feel
there a
like there
ring?
was an arc that had rings.
Is there? I don't remember.
Might be the gift. It might be the last arc. It might be the last arc that makes reference to rings.
Okay. Um, Later, Michael returns to the church and he gets a little taste of Caleb's gift to him, which is basically trashing the whole church.
His poor Charles the gift.
Right.
Okay, I'll stop.
um, Livy is lashing out because she's emotional and she blames Allison and Jamal, well, mostly Jamal at this point, for Jack dying. Because she's like, where were you? Like, he wouldn't have had to race if you had been there. And then Allison kind of says it was my fault, like, because I didn't want Jamal to like ride.
I threw the
I tricked
keys.
him. I threw the keys. This is a really well acted scene. Like,
Yes.
emotions were high. Everybody was really crying, really
Mm-hmm.
crying. Like, I felt it all.
Yeah, unlike Cookie on Time in the Bottle.
Cookie. She just punched her face. um, Jamal blames himself and says all the evidence makes it look like he did it, and Zach will back that up. And then Livy kind of has like a lucid moment, and she's like, Jack wouldn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
And she says he can't be accused of Jack's death if there's no body. So it's actually Livy's idea to hide the evidence and lie.
Yeah.
Um, they later have the coffin out, and they made it from a nearby farmer's fence. And Livy says to Jack that he's her first love and her last. I'm like, okay, calm down. You
It's like,
never
oh,
loved her.
calm down. We already know you're not going to be the last love.
Right. And she vows to make Zach pay for this. So fun little fact that you noticed, the credits have changed, and not just Tainted Love. Jack is missing from the credits.
Yep.
So I never noticed that before. Is this something that you just noticed in this watch, or did you always know?
No, so I noticed it in the first watch.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's after. So I think this is like the third episode in
Mm-hmm.
of
So he's like
Tainted Love.
dead.
So he's in the first two, and then obviously he's not in these ones
Yeah.
because he's dead.
Yeah.
Or is he?
So I wonder. I know it was probably to trick the audience, but I also wonder if it was like a budget thing. Like, we're not gonna pay you. We're gonna drop you to recurring.
That's what I'm thinking. Because like it would have, and then it really made me think like that would have been awesome if they did that with Karen in Time in a Bottle in the times where she disappeared.
Yeah, make us think that she was off the show.
Yeah, just like kind of like, but like in Karen's case, she is in incidental scenes in the credits. So like you know how like with when they have Chris's shot, they have like them in the bed, like them in like the what is that room called where they all hang out in?
Like the break room or the
one with the bed in it.
the on-call room.
The on-call room. They have them in the on-call room. When it shows them playing basketball and Karen is in there. So she's an incidental. So it would have been a little harder to remove her.
I mean, we
have to change
Julie's
the
hair
incidental.
bouncing in the opening, like the very
hair
first scene and the last scene.
Well, no, she's not in the Port Charles logo because that's actually still Jennifer Hammond in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still Jennifer Hammond. Because you see Julie, you see all the all the original interns in there. Apparently. So that's why they had to change the opening at some point.
So Lucy is worried about Ian and is still trying to get in touch with him. She's a little freaked out ever since their little run-in in the woods when the tarot card came out that it was the strangers. Mm-hmm. The stranger tarot card. It also seems to be the 1-year anniversary that Christina went missing.
Was
taken by Julie.
By Julie, yeah.
That's what I thought you had said, and also like what they said in this episode. Mm-hmm. And she gets a letter sent to her with a picture of Christina, and it's from Julie. And it's basically just like updating her and how well she's doing. Mm-hmm. And she ends the letter by saying, "Don't try to trace this letter. I made sure that it can't be traced."
Yeah. Oh, Julie.
Now I know Christina does come back. Does that mean that Julie comes back at some point?
Yes. We have like two more. We have like the arc after the arc, not tempted, but miracles happen. She comes back.
Oh, okay. So
So it's
soon.
only like, and miracles happen is only a month. So
Yeah, it was like a
like the
Christmas
shortest
arc.
arc. Yeah, because they wanted to make it like a Christmas arc. So
Yeah. Plus, it kind of evened it out so that every 3 months could be an arc in the following year. So,
yeah.
um, Ian and Eve are ready to go back to Port Charles, and Eve tells Ian how she almost accepted a proposal from Chris. He mentioned seeing Chris with an engagement ring at the recovery room, the bar, not the hospital.
At the hospital.
But he never mentioned it was Eve. Eve is surprised that he had a ring, and she also wants to stop at the monastery to say goodbye to Michael. They arrive there and they get to see the mess that Caleb made.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian's like, who would do this? Who would like deface like a church like this? And at first, Michael says, I don't know. But then he says, it's my brother. Somebody let him out.
Mm.
Now, that's a little alarming to say somebody let him out. What do you mean? Why is your brother locked up and why do you have control over that?
Yeah, it reminds me, and this is so weird how it reminds me of that. Not even though I've only read about it, but I've never seen it. So on All My Children, you know Adam and Stuart, the twins played by David Canary, right?
Yeah.
Something similar to that happened. Something very similar to that. Not and no, Stuart was not a vampire. They were not that daring in 1984. But Stuart was, I get, he, I guess now they would consider it autistic, but they never actually coded him as autistic.
Okay.
So he was more, he was like Adam's evil twin, but really he was like nice, but he just didn't know how to really operate with the world at the time. So he
Okay.
was locked up in the Chandler mansion, but not like in the basement, just like in another wing. So that's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of, oh, you know, you have an evil twin and you're getting locked up and everything like that. And then
Oh,
also, if anybody's All My Children fan, just correct me in the comments about the Adam Stewart origin story because I only read about it, but I never seen it.
oh, I always thought Stuart was the nice one.
Stewart, yeah. So then they kind of flipped it. Adam, of course, is the evil one. They have toned down his character a lot over the years, but
Hmm.
Stewart was like the nice one, like the one that was caring.
Yeah.
He even fell in love with and
It's
we
kind
just
of like what
mentioned
they did with
P-Pack. Yes,
Kevin.
mentioned P-Pack, Ellen Wheeler's character who had AIDS. So
Is that kind of like what they did with Kevin and his brother on General Hospital?
it was a little different.
Because
Ryan
wasn't
was
Kevin
evil,
kind
but
of the
Kevin was
villain?
also evil. So and then they toned Kevin.
Yeah, soaps have a habit of turning evil people into
Mhm.
heroes. Um, so Gabby is all dressed up for family night, and Chris makes like a snarky comment like, "Oh, like you see your family other than on Sundays for like Sunday dinner or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I actually like my family." um, which I think, and then he sees her brother and how they interact, and it kind of gets him, Chris wants a family. That's why he wanted to marry Eve and raise this
Yeah.
baby, and like it kind of gets him thinking about Jack. And he tells, what was the nurse's name that said she would rather clean
Colleen.
pans? Colleen. He tells her that he has a cell and like he has, someone to see. I have to go see my brother, he says.
Mhm.
Um, Livy is struggling to leave Jack, and Jamal says they have to make a plan to make sure Zach and Sam pay for what they did. Why is it just Sam though? Like, shouldn't it just be the whole crew? Like, is it because
Right?
she's not even really like his girlfriend?
Mm-mm.
Um, they go to a diner, and a cop questions whose car has the motorbike on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
The cop says a farmer complained about hearing bikes riding by and messing up his fence. Livy says it's hers, and Jamal says he was riding and took a bad fall, and the girls came to get him. the cop questions the blood on Jamal's hands, and he says he must have gotten pretty banged up from the crash. And the cop warns them that they better be careful. Jamal tells Livy that they'll bring Jack back to Port Charles, where he belongs, once they deal with Zach and Sam.
I like the kind of misdirection part where you think that like, oh, there's blood, but you think it's he saw Livy's, Livy's like I think it was like Livy's shirt that was covered
Yeah,
in blood.
right. Because they're all pretty
Yeah.
dirty from digging the grave and everything. And just holding him, and he was bleeding all over.
Yeah.
Um, it gets dark, and we see
Mhm.
Jack's grave / burial site, and the flower petals start to get blown away.
Mhm.
So
That's the part I remember the most, with like the sky and
mhm.
the wind and the music. You just knew
So
something creepy was happening, was about to happen.
I guess we should just hold this conversation off till next week, but
Mhm.
I just have to mention it because it's on my mind. Jack was already dead, so how did Caleb get to him to bring him back? Unless he was already kind of, because he was acting weird, like under some kind of mystical spell that he could come
Mhm.
back.
I'm thinking it was something that Caleb did.
Yeah, but like I
I
said
don't know
last week, he
exactly
wasn't
what.
bitten because nobody was like, "Oh, what are the marks on your neck?" or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's almost like Caleb's like a witch / vampire.
Witch buyer.
Excuse me. Um, Livy, Jamal, and Allison are back in Port Charles at the bike shop, and
Mhm.
Chris comes to see Jack. Um, Jamal tries to stall him at the door, and Livy gets up in his face, like, all of a sudden you want to be a brother to him. Where were you the last 6 months?
Mhm.
Um, and she's like, all you did was try to keep him away from me when you should have been trying to be a brother to him. So she's like not having it. She's like, you're an asshole.
Mhm.
Get out of here. um, where are we?
I like how wrong Chris looks at this scene. Like, like they look like that they're in a bike shop. Like they look like they're dressed for a bike shop, but Chris is dressed up like he's going to like an important meeting. I know he came from the hospital, but
um, Allison, well, he's kind of suspicious because they're saying that Jack left town,
Mhm.
but they're very high strung, and they look sad,
Yeah.
like sadder than you would be if you miss somebody and they just left.
Mhm.
So he's like, something's up, and Allison is just kind of like, "What's up? Is you're a jerk or whatever."
Mhm.
um, Livy locks herself in Jack's room, and she freaks out when she can't find a sweater of his.
Mm.
This felt like a very real grieving moment because I had a similar moment when I was grieving for somebody, and I remember, I don't know if it's just that you become so hyper focused because you feel like you don't have control over everything, and you just like focus on this one thing, and you're just like,
Mhm.
I need it right now. Like, where is it? I remember having a similar moment where I was like, I can't find it, I can't find it, I can't find it. And like
Mhm.
hyperventilating and calling somebody, and like I couldn't even speak. I was like, I can't, I can't. And they were like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So that felt like a really realistic
Mhm.
portrayal of somebody grieving. Um,
Again, phenomenal job by Kelly Monaco.
yeah, it's almost like, okay, so I know I've heard that like what was his name? The actor that played Jesse on All My Children was like an acting coach.
Yes.
And I've heard, I don't know if he was like on all the soap sets at one point or the ABC soap sets, but I've heard that he was on some of the sets helping the actors.
Mhm.
And I almost wonder if he was helping Kelly Monaco because she wasn't acting like this in the other arcs. Like she like stepped it up
Oh.
a million times.
Uh-huh.
So I almost feel like she had an acting coach.
Yeah, because I know, and I think these were only for the PNG soaps, not not oh god, what is his name? Darnell Williams, but who plays to play Jesse on All My Children. But
Mhm.
there was also Lisa Brown, who was an acting coach on some of the PNG soaps. Larkin Malloy was an acting coach as well. Like they actually take actors from like their heyday and like, which is really cool, and make them acting coaches to like boost the younger generation. I wish they still had that. I'm not sure if they do, but I think they don't.
Um, Allison tries to get Livy to let her in the room, but Livy doesn't want anyone around her.
Hmm.
And I kind of like it was heartbreaking because Allison's grieving also. And she even says, he was my friend too. And her voice kind of cracked. And I was like, oh my God, everybody's doing such a good job.
And then like earlier she said like I didn't even like Jack, like to like Livy said you didn't like Jack to Allison, like that broke my heart.
Allison wants to help Livy, so she thinks that maybe if she speaks to Kevin, her father, that he could help.
Hmm.
Obviously, not knowing the full truth, just knowing that Jack left.
Hmm.
So she goes and asks Kevin, and he asks why she's so dirty, like because she still has like dirt from the night before, and she said that her and Jamal just came back from a ride.
Hmm.
Um, Livy calls the biker bar that Zach frequents to check that he's there. She says not to tell him she called because she wants to walk in and surprise him. And she turns around to see Lucy and Kevin there, and she
Hmm.
wonders like if they heard what she was gonna say. So like Livy's ready to fight, like she's ready to like
Hmm.
just kill somebody. um, Jamal and Allison grieve Jack together, and a suspicious Chris kind of is peeking through the window of the bike shop, seeing them like kind of hold each other. Michael explains to Ian and Eve that his brother is violent and has tantrums, and that he locked him up in the basement for his own good. Eve thinks she let him out by going down there. She
Hmm.
says she didn't see anyone down there, though. And Michael says that he and Caleb are twins, and he thinks that's part of the reason why he became a priest was because of him to balance out his bad nature by doing good for others.
Mm.
Ian and Eve think that Caleb should get professional help, and Michael says that he's tried in the past and he hasn't been receptive to it.
Hmm.
He wants them to go, and he says he'll handle his brother. They leave, and he says he shouts he knows Caleb is watching, and that he did it to see how he would react. He says that he lied once again for him, and that he should have told them what he really is.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm. Which, though, for those of you who don't know, I'm not gonna say it. Just I'm not gonna say it. Just
I'm pretty sure we've said it before.
we said it before, yeah.
um, Michael begins to pray in the monastery that everyone will be safe from his brother. And Kevin and Lucy are trying to comfort and talk to Livy
Hmm.
because they think that Jack just up and left. Livy isn't really able to deal with that, and she leaves them in Jack's room. Outside, she calls the biker bar again to see if Zach is still there, but he isn't, and she vows revenge. Now, Lucy and Kevin are kind of having a back and forth because
Hmm.
Kevin's just like, oh, he's the jerk I always knew he was. He just up and left and broke my daughter's heart. And Lucy's like, no, there's something more to this. And he's like, I don't have time for like your vibes and like your universe. And like,
In this case, listen to Lucy. Listen to Lucy.
um, they kind of look around and they're like, they're like, if he just up and left town, why is all his stuff here? His wallet's there, his clothes, like somebody who just
Hmm.
left doesn't leave everything they own. Um, and Lucy mentions what happened in the woods. She said that Livy told her that, Jack went to get wood and he was gone for so long and they found him face down, unconscious, and he couldn't remember anything. And she wonders if there's like a medical reason for this. that she's like, you hear about people all the time that just like drive off and they don't know who they are or where they're going. And he's like, yeah, but those are usually people that are like over 80. Um, and not necessarily true. I'm sure there's rare cases where there's people under 80. Like this happened to Stephanie Forrester back in the early days of Bold and the Beautiful. She like had
Yes.
an aneurysm and she ended up on Skid Row and she was homeless for like 6 months,
Hmm.
not knowing who she was.
Do you know what year that was? Because I think it might be on YouTube.
It is because I watched it.
Okay.
It may have been early 1990.
Okay. Because I haven't watched. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for like the 1997 episodes to come on, the ones that I've watched, that I started watching.
I think they're up.
They are? Okay, good, 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 good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because at one point they were uploading like multiple years at once.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they were doing from the beginning, and then they were doing like the late 90s and then some 2000s. So they might be up. Because I remember seeing like a thumbnail because I subscribed to them. And I remember seeing Lindsay Price from 90210, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I didn't know she was on Bold and the Beautiful.
Yeah. Like, not to go off on a tangent for just to go off a tangent for just a second. The first episode of The Bold and the Beautiful that I watched, Grant Chambers revealed to Macy that he had cancer. And then I think and then I think also that week, Rich and Taylor got married, and Brooke was
No.
like, as God is my witness, I will never trust this Smino again. I was like, this is my show.
Allison is processing her grief, and Jamal went to get food and was gone longer than expected, which scared her that something may have happened to him. She feels like a horrible person for thanking God it wasn't Jamal that died because she can't live without him. Eve and Ian are driving back from Port Charles, basking in their reaffirmed love. And Ian is thinking, like, crazy. Oh, he's honking the horn like crazy because he wants to let people know how happy he is. And Eve's like, you're going to give somebody road rage, stop.
Or you're going to think that I think she said, or they're going to think you have road rage.
Right. They talk about the baby and what if it's twins, and that makes Eve think about Michael and Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Allison is trying to wash the rag, I guess, that Jamal had his hand wrapped in, that has Jack's blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having an emotional moment because she can't get it out. And Jamal takes over, and Allison is crying so hard she screams.
And Lucy and Kevin can hear it.
Mm-hmm. Even Ian almost hit something, and they couldn't tell if it was an animal or a human. And they get out of the car. Did they actually? I don't know. I felt like I heard a thud, like they did hit something, but
yeah, I heard a thud too.
Maybe they just kind of like, I don't know, swerved. I don't know. But when they get outside the car, they don't see anything, and they assume that whatever it was is okay because there's nothing around.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Caleb lurking in the woods or bushes, spying. So he's quick. He can keep up with the car.
Yeah.
Can he teleport?
Is he like the Flash?
Is that a thing? Can he, like, I don't know. Does he turn into a bat?
I don't
know. Where are we? Oh, so Livy is at her and Jack's spot by the water. Mm-hmm. Talking to Jack, once again vowing revenge. And she says that she's sorry that she has to lie about what happened to him, but like this is all to protect Jamal because she knows that he wouldn't want him to go to jail. And we get like a very quick montage, which is basically just her, like every time they kissed and her being naked by the water before they made love. And then she's just kind of like
show you how short their relationship really was.
Yeah. They were apart more than they were together, which I guess is true soap fashion.
Yeah.
because they always want to keep the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of scribbling in the sand. I don't know if I couldn't see because it was a dark scene, but I'm guessing Jack's name or maybe Livy Hart's Jack. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But she feels like somebody's watching her, but she doesn't see anything. And then we see Caleb lurking and watching her in secret.
Mm.
And like we said, in Time in a Bottle, she felt like somebody was watching her. And now I'm wondering if this was a thing and he's obsessed with Livy.
Yeah.
Because isn't there like a thread that she looks like somebody that he was with?
Olivia.
Oh, her name was Olivia?
Yeah, that's the past. Do I need to should I explain it or should I wait
Let's wait till
until
next week.
yeah
A
or
couple
yeah
weeks.
I was like or should I wait until they mention it because like yeah it's a whole thing.
That feels very Dark Shadows, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's seen our Dark Shadows coverage. Um,
I
so this is a great first week.
It is.
I don't know if it was fast paced because I feel like at points the other arcs have had weeks like this where it's just like boom, 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 and then it slows down.
It's very like mid, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and not using the slang that the kids use for mid. No, it's very like mid speed. So like it's like you have, of course, you have the action packed bike accident that ended Time in a Bottle and went into this, and then you just introduce kind of slowly the supernatural elements. Oops, did I say supernatural? Well, there was some Time in a Bottle, so who cares? But you kind of introduce like this evil in the world of
Mm-hmm.
poor Charles
Right.
that's separate from General Hospital for some reason. And
well, it's a different hospital floor, so that's why.
yeah, it's a sixth floor. Yeah. Ooh, sixth floor. Six is an evil number, isn't it?
Notably absent were Joseph, Frank, and Karen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Frank and Karen needed a break anyway, so
yeah, they had a full arc. Gabby was there for like a minute, just to like for family night. But I know she gets more involved. And I know I don't know if it's this arc or the next one, but I know Joseph leaves at some point, and I don't know
I
how.
think it is this arc.
Yeah, because I don't really remember him much after.
Yeah, because remember they take him out. They update Chris's shot to replace it, and it's like it makes me fall in love with Nolan North. And I forgot how much Chris is in this arc. How I think that I saw a preview for next week, and he's in it with Sam. So
yeah, I remember him being an active participant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say.
No. We're gonna try not to.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add about this week?
I mean, it was a really good week. Like a really good week. Like I wish we did 2 weeks, but I know we have stuff to do. We're busy people. But but no, it was a really good week. It made me actually want to watch the next week. So
good. I'm excited. We're here. This is what we've been training for.
Mm-hmm. This is what Julie Hannon Carruthers wanted us to do. She wanted us to start with Tainted Love because this was the first arc.
I love how you have a recurring tweet theme of like actors reacting to the fired producer's name.
Yes. Actually, that last one with Mary was from Time in a Bottle, but I was like, there was only one because like the other one was from the ABC airing, and they only credited his name under like, the music and stuff like that. So there wasn't like there was like a reaction, but like the one with Jack on the bike, I laughed so hard at that.
It's funny.
It's like, nope. Basically almost running over his name.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for our beginning of Poor Charles Tainted Love. We're very excited to continue. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, Have a great night, day, weekend, weekday, whenever you're watching this. Bye.
Bye.